Coronation Street could be setting the stage for Theo Silverton's violent storyline to reach a dramatic conclusion next week, as he's among several characters who may not survive. Just when Todd believes he's finally free from his abusive partner, the two are drawn into a tense showdown that could be their last encounter. Sources suggest Theo was never going to allow Todd to walk away without resistance. Todd is convinced his ordeal is behind him as he prepares to leave for Thailand, but Theo has one final move planned, revealed through a series of flashbacks early in the week. As most of Weatherfield comes together to celebrate the wedding of Carla Connor and Lisa Swain, Todd is busy getting ready to leave. He quietly returns to his former home to collect his remaining belongings, cautiously entering once he thinks it's safe, desperate to avoid Theo. However, just as he's about to leave, Theo suddenly appears, leaving Todd trapped. Fear grips Todd as Theo's anger escalates, leaving him unable to find an escape. Fortunately, George arrives after following him, stepping in to help restrain Theo before they both manage to get away. After breaking free, Todd and George report everything to the police. With Theo already under investigation for his abusive behavior, confronting and threatening Todd directly puts him in violation of his bail terms. Kit Green heads to the flat to arrest Theo, but he's nowhere to be found, raising questions about his whereabouts. Still shaken, Todd rushes into a taxi and heads for the airport. Moments later, he realizes he's left his phone behind and asks the driver to stop so he can retrieve it. Hurrying back along the street toward his home, Todd suddenly freezes when he spots someone holding his phone. The relief of finding it quickly turns into fear when he realizes Theo is the one holding it. Face to face with Theo once again in such a short span of time, Todd is left with no easy options. What desperate action will he take to finally escape his tormentor? Coronation Street is set to deliver another explosive twist as Carl Webster's actions next week put Kevin in serious danger in a revenge-driven plot. Carl Webster becomes even more disliked around Weatherfield as his behavior pushes residents further against him. Tired of being despised, Carl decides to strike back at those he blames, but his actions may spiral out of control and end up putting his own life at risk, as he's among the possible victims in a looming, deadly storyline. An insider reveals that when even his own mother pays him to disappear, it's a clear sign no one wants him around. After Debbie rejects him and urges him to leave, Carl reaches breaking point, and with nothing left to hold on to, he makes a reckless decision that could lead to devastating consequences. A heartbroken Debbie confesses to Kevin and Ronnie that she handed Carl a large sum of money and told him to leave for good, knowing it was the only way to end the trouble he's caused. Despite understanding his mistakes deep down, Carl feels wronged and spends his final hours in Weatherfield clashing with those he's hurt. Abby Webster makes it clear she regrets risking her marriage for him, while tensions also flare during confrontations with Theo Silverton and Tyrone Dobbs, the latter still affected by Carl's past actions. However, it's a heated clash with his brother Kevin that truly pushes Carl over the edge and leads to his most dangerous move yet. After receiving an unpleasant message from Kevin, Carl secretly enters the garage with a plan to get revenge. He tampers with the brakes on Kevin's car, intending to teach him a lesson. This reckless act triggers a dangerous chain reaction that could end in multiple lives being put at risk, or even lost. Coronation Street is gearing up to reveal how Carla and Lisa's wedding ultimately unfolds, as a dramatic week of episodes builds toward a fiery and shocking conclusion. A specially structured run of episodes will gradually edge viewers closer to the truth, raising the ultimate question of who loses their life and who may be responsible for it. This storyline is shaping up to be one of the soap's most daring whodunit plots to date, featuring a murderer still at large and 5 potential victims, all of whom are among the most despised figures on the street. The list of suspects includes ruthless pub landlady Maggie Driscoll, manipulative liar Jody Ramsey, controlling abuser Theo Silverton, dangerous predator Megan Walsh, and the widely disliked troublemaker Carl Webster. Each of these individuals has been at the center of long-running narratives, all carefully developed and intensified to reach a dramatic peak just in time for the highly anticipated wedding celebration. Behind the scenes, this ambitious storyline has clearly required careful coordination, as multiple plots have been interwoven to collide during one explosive week. The upcoming episodes have been described as a bold and innovative sequence, taking viewers back to the day of the wedding while exploring events from different perspectives. The first 4 installments begin as the newly married couple arrive at their reception at Underworld, with each revisit to the street focusing on what may be the final hours of one of the key characters. By the time Friday's episode airs, all of the story threads come together, culminating in a spectacular fireworks display to mark the union, before everything takes a dark and devastating turn. The celebration is abruptly overshadowed when Betsy Swain discovers a lifeless body, a moment that had already been teased earlier in the year through a flash forward, with the full sequence of events now finally revealed along with the aftermath. The week opens with immediate tension as Theo suddenly turns up at the flat, leaving Todd horrified. George arrives just in time to intervene, and together they manage to subdue Theo before escaping. They report the incident to the police, but Theo disappears before he can be apprehended. Eager to get away from the danger, Todd jumps into a taxi bound for the airport, only to realize he has left his phone behind. Forced to turn back, he returns to the street, where he comes face to face with Theo once again, who is now holding the missing device. As events continue to unfold, Debbie confesses to Ronnie and Kevin that she paid Carl a significant amount of money to leave town permanently after he attempted to blackmail Summer. At the same time, Carl attempts to wrap up unfinished business before his departure, but instead ends up provoking several confrontations with people he has wronged, including Abby, Tyrone, Theo, and his own brother Kevin. Following a heated exchange and an angry message from Kevin, Carl secretly sneaks into the garage and sabotages his brother's car by interfering with the brakes, setting in motion a potentially fatal chain of events. Elsewhere, Jody prepares to leave Weatherfield after a child from her past arrives, searching for a hidden hard drive that she has kept among her personal belongings. When chaos erupts nearby, Jody is forced to hand over the item. But soon afterwards, she uncovers a shocking truth about her sister that reignites old wounds and fuels her desire for revenge. Her actions quickly escalate, drawing others into the fallout and leaving relationships hanging by a thread, as she eventually finds herself isolated and wandering alone at night, unaware that someone is watching her. Sitting alone and reflecting on her mistakes, Jody is suddenly confronted by an unexpected presence, leaving her visibly shaken and questioning whether her past actions have finally caught up with her. Meanwhile, another storyline intensifies as Megan is confronted by several residents who attempt to force a confession from her, but she refuses to cooperate and instead provokes a violent altercation. Later, she tries to gain sympathy from her former partner, but her past actions leave little room for forgiveness, and she is ultimately rejected. After secretly recording a dangerous conversation, she unknowingly puts herself in serious jeopardy, leading to a tense confrontation with someone who is not to be underestimated. As secrets begin to surface, tensions between key characters escalate further, raising the possibility that the conflict could turn deadly. With the discovery of a body sending shockwaves across the street, the events of this week promise to leave a lasting impact and change everything for those involved. The series continues to air on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available for streaming on ITVX.